Hello. Welcome to the Just the Dis YouTube channel. My name's Brian Sauer. I have a podcast called Just the Dis. I've been doing it for about 3.5 years. And we just talk about Blu-rays on the show. It started with me just picking up a pile of Blu-rays and going through them. I've been a collector for many years, starting way back on VHS. I've got some of the collection behind me there. And I like all kinds of labels. I cover a whole bunch of boutique labels on my show, from Vinegar Syndrome to Criterion to Scream Factory to Warner Archive, Arrow Video, occasionally Code Red, Massacre Video. Those are a little more marginalized, but a lot of Kino Lorber stuff. So that's basically what this channel will be, is me talking about discs from those various labels. I may do collection tours or something. I haven't figured out exactly what I'm doing, so bear with me. But if you're a fan of the podcast, you'll probably like the channel, and vice versa. I'm going to start today with just a real quick introductory stack of movies. I've got, in this particular stack, stuff from Imprint Films, Vestron Video, Scream Factory, Vinegar Syndrome, Kino Lorber, and Criterion. And I'm going to probably go through these relatively quickly. I don't have a ton of time to do this particular video, so I might move a little quicker than I'd like, but I'll definitely give you a sense of what these movies are, and you'll get a look at them and stuff. So let me just get into this, and this is kind of what it's going to be. So I'm going to start with When Worlds Collide. Like I said, this is from Imprint Films. This is an Australian label, part of Via Vision Entertainment. That's the back. And this line I'm really excited about. This is their second wave of titles, and they have a really cool third wave coming in October that I'd like to talk about too. But just to give you a sense of little slipcover, side loader as I like to call it. And then here's what the disc itself looks like. And I love that on the spine of both the disc and the slipcase, you get the year of the movie as well as the number. And that's a cunning trick that labels pull when they put the number on the side, because they know they can get us, and we want to have all the numbers in a row, and it's a very tricky thing to do, but I know a label is serious when they do it. So anyway, the other neat thing about this is that inside the disc you have the numbered thing there, which I like. So this one is George Pal science fiction epic. You know what? I don't know if I've seen this film, so I'm actually kind of excited about this one. I like classic science fiction stuff, and so I'm definitely looking forward to this. It says it's a 1080p presentation of the film from a 4K scan of the 35mm original color separations negative. And a lot of these titles, by the way, from Imprint, the thing I like about them is that they're licensing stuff from Paramount. And the Paramount catalog has been sort of sadly neglected by a lot of the boutique labels and by Paramount themselves. Now they've started to do their Paramount Presents line, which is really cool, and they're digging into their catalog a little more there. But Imprint has got almost all Paramount titles so far, and so there's a lot of stuff that's debuting on Blu-ray. I don't think this has been on Blu before. I could be wrong about that. Don't quote me. But I think all of the ones I'm going to mention here are Blu-ray debuts. And these are region-free, I believe. I was able to play these on my just regular United States, Region A player. And that was fine. So that's kind of cool. I mean, the only trick is they're a little expensive to ship from Australia. So that's something I'm still figuring out. But anyway, this one has an exclusive audio commentary by film critics Barry Forshaw and Kim Newman. And I love Kim Newman. If you listen to my podcast, I talk about him as often as I can when he comes up on different releases. He's a really great film scholar, film critic, film nerdy type from the UK, and I love to hear him geek out about movies, and he always does a great job. So a commentary with him, I'm in right away. There's also 90 minutes of George Pal extended interviews with folks like Gene Roddenberry, Ray Bradbury, Ray Harryhausen, Roy Edward Disney, Wah Chang, Russ Tamblyn, and Duke Goldstone. So you got 90 minutes, almost like a documentary's worth of interviews on that. So that's a really nice release. When Worlds Collide. That's number 6. Number 7 in their line is something called No Way to Treat a Lady with Rod Steiger, Lee Remick, and George Siegel. That's the back of that one. And then the artwork. I'll show you the disc inside. This one I haven't seen. I have another podcast called Pure Cinema that I do in conjunction with the New Beverly Theater in Los Angeles. And my co-host, Elric Kane, recently talked about this movie, and he was a fan of it. And I think it's kind of got some comedic elements in terms of the Rod Steiger character is this like a serial killer or something. I don't remember exactly how this one goes, but I'm intrigued by it. So I definitely want to see this. And I think, again, this is a Blu-ray debut, so that's very exciting. It has an exclusive audio commentary by film historian Kat Ellinger. And she's another person that I'm a huge, huge fan of. Like, I can't get enough of her tracks. She does stuff for Kino. She does stuff for Indicator, Arrow. She's all over the place, and she's fantastic. So an audio commentary with Kat Ellinger is a big plus for me. That's a great extra. So that's No Way to Treat a Lady. This is a big one. A Place in the Sun. This should be on Criterion, but for whatever reason, it's not yet. And so this is your way to get A Place in the Sun. Of course, it has Liz Taylor, Monty Clift, and Shelley Winters. George Stevens film. Really great stuff. Like one of the great, tragedies of all time. Yeah, I love this movie so much. This is definitely a debut on Blu-ray. Never been on Blu before. And it says that the 1080p presentation of the film is from a 4K restoration by Paramount. And there is an audio commentary with George Stevens Jr. and associate producer Ivan Moffat. George Stevens and his Place in the Sun featurette, including interviews with Liz Taylor, Shelley Winters, and George Stevens Jr. George Stevens, The Filmmakers Who Knew Him, which includes interviews with Warren Beatty, Frank Capra, and others as they reminisce about the work of Stevens and working with him. So that's very exciting. Let me get this one out. This is what this looks like. Inside of the disc. And I did check this one out, and it looks great, and it's definitely one of the ones I've been most excited that Imprint has put out so far. Just a really big classic film that for some reason hasn't gotten a release yet. So this is a big one. I'm really, really happy about that. Place in the Sun. Next up, we have The Carpetbaggers with George Peppard, Alan Ladd, Bob Cummings, Carol Baker. This one I haven't seen yet, and I haven't even opened it yet. So I'm not going to do that just yet. There's like I said, the year on the side. This is number 9. And the back just says, every generation has its modern carpetbaggers, its adventurers who gamble everything to stand head and shoulders above other men, inheriting his father's explosive company. Young tycoon Jonas Cord's rise to power is ruthless as he adds a Hollywood studio to his empire and morphs his stepmother into a self-destructive starlet. I'm intrigued. I like George Peppard movies. I see Marty Balsam on the back here. That's good stuff. This also has an audio commentary by Kat Ellinger, so big thumbs up on that. But yeah, I don't know too much about this movie. So I know it's a Paramount title, and yeah, I definitely want to check this one out. And next I have Nightfalls on Manhattan. This is a Sidney Lumet film. This is another one I haven't seen. I've always meant to see because I love Sidney Lumet, and so I'm super jazzed about this. There's your inside artwork on the disc itself. Yeah, it says Sean Casey is just another idealistic assistant DA until his prosecution of a cop-killing drug lord catapults him into the center of New York's tempestuous political arena. Andy Garcia stars with Richard Dreyfuss in this electrifying political thriller from celebrated director Sidney Lumet. Very, very much looking forward to this. Also has James Gandolfini and Ron Liebman. That's really good stuff. Let's see here. This has an audio commentary with director Sidney Lumet. Awesome. And I'm assuming that's obviously probably from a DVD release that's been ported over because he's not been with us for a little while. There is also an audio commentary with actors Andy Garcia and Ron Liebman and producers Josh Kramer and Tom Mount. So 2 tracks on this one. And like I said, Lumet, that's new to me. That's gold. Nightfalls on Manhattan. And then I've got 2 from the first wave that I picked up. I talked about this on the podcast at one point already. Sorry, Wrong Number. This has Burt Lancaster and Barbara Stanwyck. Like a film noir kind of deal. Basically, she is sort of laid up as a... she's not an invalid necessarily, but she's bedridden. And her husband is played by Mr. Lancaster, and he is a little neglectful, and she gets stuck at home one night, and she intercepts a phone call, strangely, that it's like she's listening in on another conversation. It's like kind of like a party line kind of thing, like where you would get wires crossed and maybe hear a conversation. It doesn't really happen as much these days, but she basically hears a murder being planned, and then she tries to call the cops, and she can't get through, or she can't convince them that there's something going on, and it kind of goes from there, you know, and there's like a bit of a revelation later. Here's what the inside cover looks like for that one. And this itself. But it's really good, and Barbara Stanwyck's really good in it, and she's kind of given some pretty heavy drama to play, and she has to get a little hysterical, and that's a tough thing to do without sounding silly sometimes. So she does a good job, and Lancaster's great as well. I'm not going to talk about what he's like, but you can imagine. This one has an exclusive commentary by noir expert and Film Noir Foundation board member Alan K. Rohde, and an introduction by film historian Eddie Muller, the czar of noir himself. It has something called Hold the Phone, the making of Sorry Wrong Number, and Sorry Wrong Number Lux Radio Theater with Barbara Stanwyck and Burt Lancaster from 1950. And then Sorry Wrong Number, a radio play by Lucille Fletcher, filmed performance at Shadowland Theater. That's from 2009. So this is another big one for me, just a noir that hasn't been on Blue yet, and I was really excited to get it. I really like this movie a lot. Sorry Wrong Number. And then lastly, another sort of classic science fiction type, I Married a Monster from Outer Space. I haven't had a chance to look at this one yet, but I'm a big fan of this movie. Very Invasion of the Body Snatchers-ish. And it's, you know, a little after that movie, but it's still a lot of fun. And I like this one a lot. I actually watch it more than the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I don't know why. This one is just a little weirder, I think. And yeah, it just says a race of monster-like aliens from another planet try to conquer Earth by taking over a small town and inhabiting the bodies of prominent citizens. Like I said, body snatchers. This one has also an exclusive audio commentary by film critics Barry Forshaw and Kim Newman. So can't wait to listen to that. That's going to be great. I Married a Monster from Outer Space. That's my last Imprint title. I've got a couple from the Vestron video line, which looked like it was going to go away for a minute, and thankfully has returned with these two new titles, and I'm quite happy to have them. And they were not that expensive, which is great. First up, we have Shivers, Cronenberg's movie. Not his debut film, but sort of the big horror film that I think sort of set everything in motion, if you will. The back says, a cult favorite, Shivers is acclaimed filmmaker David Cronenberg's controversial feature-length debut. I guess it is his first movie. For some reason, I thought his drag racing movie was his first one. But when the residents of a luxury apartment complex outside Montreal are infiltrated by parasites and transformed into violent sex-crazed maniacs, it's up to Dr. Roger St. Luc to contain the outbreak from spreading to the large city at large in a film that scares and shocks us because it's so cleverly made, says Roger Ebert. So these are really nice releases. I love these slip cases, and they go together. I have a bunch of these, and it's a really nice line. Features include audio commentary with Cronenberg, audio commentary with producer Don Carmody, interviews, Mind Over Matter, that's with Cronenberg himself, Goodnight Nurse with actress Lynn Lowry, Outside and Within, an interview with special makeup effects creator Joe Blasco, and Celebrating Cinepix, an interview with Greg Dunning, and then an archival interview with Cronenberg from '88. And then there's a still gallery with optional archival audio interview with executive producer John Dunning. So it's a nice disc. This is a Region A release. So that's Shivers. And then I got this with it, another sort of little 80s gem, Little Monsters, also Region A. I got these from Diabolic DVD in a 2-pack, and that was a really good deal. So I'm very excited to have these. This, of course, stars Fred Savage and Howie Mandel, and it's the story of like a 6th grader who's moved to a new town, and he's made friends with this weird monster played by Howie Mandel, and the monster lives under his bed, and he starts to kind of influence him to do bad things, and it kind of goes from there. You can see some of the monster stuff on the back there. This is another one that the cover matches the slip. It has audio commentary with Jarrett Gahan, editor-in-chief of CultMonster.com, isolated score selections, and audio interview with composer David Newman. There's interviews here. Call Him Maurice, an interview with actor Howie Mandel. Beneath the Bed, an interview with producer Andrew Licht. And Monsters Big and Small, an interview with special effects makeup creator Robert Short. And then there's some vintage interviews with Fred Savage, Ben Savage, special makeup effects creator Robert Short, and director Richard Allen Greenberg, as well as a vintage footage featurette, it looks like, Making Maurice, Howie Mandel's makeup transformation. So that's cool. I know this is one that a lot of people have been waiting for. It's just sort of like a, childhood favorite, VHS favorite, and I'm very happy to have this one. I've shown this to my daughter, but not on Blu-ray, so I'm excited to re-watch it in this format. Next up, I have one from Screen Factory. This is part of their Dark Castle line that they've been doing. Ghost Ship. This is also Region A. And the Dark Castle stuff is fun. It's really interesting. They did 13 Ghosts before this, and I feel like there is at least one. House on Haunted Hill. So it's fun that they're bringing back these early 2000 remakes of the William Castle and William Castle adjacent properties. And this one, I have to give credit to my friend Aaron Penn, great YouTuber, one of my favorite YouTubers. he coined the phrase, I think it was like pulling a ghost ship, where a movie or some kind of TV show or whatever has a really great opening sequence or front loads it with something awesome and makes it almost impossible for the movie to live up to what it's already established. And so this movie has an incredible opening sequence. And I haven't seen it in a while, but I do remember that it is hard to top that opening sequence. Ghost Ship, if I'm remembering, is originally a Val Lewton production as part of his RKO horror films, and that is part of the Val Lewton DVD box set. That one's not on Blu-ray yet, the original film. So I would love to get that too at some point, but this is a new collector's edition, and it has a new audio commentary with director Steve Beck, new interviews with producer Gil Adler, actor Isaiah Washington, and special makeup effects supervisor Jason Baird, and then Max on set, Ghost Ship, Secrets of the Antonia Graza, a closer look at the gore, designing the Ghost Ship, Mudvayne Not Falling music video, and the trailer. And I don't know, I love these collector's editions from Scream Factory. They're slips, and then they have reversible art typically. So, and I like this new art actually quite a bit. So that's Ghost Ship from Scream Factory. Next up is Vinegar Syndrome, The Caller, with Malcolm McDowell and Madeline Smith. That's what that looks like. I'll show you the alternate artwork, which I flipped on this one. Looks like that. This is a Region A disc, as you can see. This is a really neat movie. I'm probably going to talk about this on the podcast as well, but I just wanted to bring it up here because I did not know what to expect going into this one. I had not seen this, but Vinegar Syndrome has been doing a hell of a job lately, really putting out some interesting films and a lot of stuff that I have never seen before. And so I'm always intrigued by a new release from them that I haven't seen. And this one, I'm not going to explain too much. It's just kind of like this woman in a like rural cottage at night, and she is sort of encounters a hitchhiker, or not a hitchhiker, I'm sorry, Malcolm McDowell is the guy whose car is broken down by the side of the road, and it seems really creepy, like what's he doing, what's the deal with him? And so they sort of start to interact, and he comes in the house and they talk a little bit. He's kind of creepy, she's understandably nervous, and it goes to some places that I never would have anticipated. But that's kind of the setup. And I really don't want to give any more. I don't recommend necessarily looking up a trailer. I just think this one is worth watching blind, because where it went, I totally didn't expect, and really hooked me. It was really something that I was like, wow, that was interesting. Really an interesting movie. A good discovery for me this year from Vinegar Syndrome. This one has newly scanned and restored in 2K from 35mm inner positive, boiling over an interview with director Arthur Allen Seidelman, and an audio interview with writer Michael Sloan. So some nice little extras on that, and a great slip. I love these. The texture of the Vinegar Syndrome slips, I don't know, they're really nice to hold in your hand. That's definitely something I dig about the Imprint slip cases too. They just feel good in your hand. So that's The Caller. And then I've got some Kino titles here and a Criterion, and I'll be quicker about these. New one from Kino, sort of an 80s classic that I love, Gotcha, with Anthony Edwards and Linda Fiorentino. One of two, I guess maybe three if you count Master Blaster, sort of assassination game movies. There's Tag the Assassination Game, which Nick Castle directed, which does not have a Blu-ray. That came out a couple years before this. This starts on a campus, UCLA. Edwards is a student there who's playing an assassination game where kids chase each other around campus, shooting each other, in this case with paintballs. And he and his buddy end up going on a foreign exchange trip, and they sort of become involved in some real intrigue involving Miss Linda Fiorentino. and it's fun. It's from the director of Revenge of the Nerds, Jeff Canoe, and he does an audio commentary on this disc, which I listened to and which was very interesting. Some of it is him describing what's happening, but some of it is him recalling casting choices. They wanted him to cast Tom Cruise, and there's some other stuff that I took away from this commentary that I really dug, just him talking about the production in general. And then there's also an audio commentary by entertainment journalist and author Brian Reisman. So I'm looking forward to listening to that. So you've got 2 tracks on this. There you go. Region A also. Gotcha. Sorry, that's the catchy theme song that will get stuck in your head. It plays on the menu of this Blu-ray, and it is unforgettable. Next up, we have one from Louis Malle. This is Crackers. It's kind of a rare one, and I've not seen this either. So this is another one that I'm jazzed about. Donald Sutherland, Jack Warden, Sean Penn, and I don't know. This one, it says that wonderful remake of the classic Italian comedy caper Big Deal on Madonna Street. So there you go. That's what this is. If you've seen that film, this is the English remake of it with a different cast. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I do like Big Deal on Madonna Street, although it's been a long time since I've seen it. But this is a rare one that I don't know if it had a DVD, or if it did, it was like a, made-on-demand DVD kind of release, so it hasn't really had a great home video track record. I remember seeing a Laserdisc of this years ago. There's the back, Region A, 1984. It has a commentary by film historian and filmmaker Daniel Creamer and film critic Scout Tafoya. I would like to hear those two talk about this movie. That sounds really great. Shot by Laszlo Kovacs. So, yeah, looking forward to this one. Crackers. And then we have Five Graves to Cairo, which is a Billy Wilder movie, another sort of rarity, one that has been a long time coming on Blu-ray. I think Eureka also put this out in the UK, but this is the Region A version of it. And it's sort of a great, like, World War II, I want to say. Let's see here. The sole survivor of a British tank crew makes his way to a desolate desert town where he's given refuge by a hotel owner and a French chambermaid who prepare to receive General Erwin Rommel, played by Erich von Stroheim, and his German staff. Posing as the hotel's waiter, Bramble attempts to infiltrate Rommel's inner circle and report the general's plans to the Allies. Co-written by Wilder and Charles Brackett, based on a play by Lajo Bureau, and featuring top-notch cinematography by John F. Seitz, The Big Clock. I just remember digging this one a lot. There's a really great suspenseful scene I remember where I want to say the main character's hiding behind a bar and von Stroheim's Rommel comes in, and it's just really well shot and put together, and I just remember thinking, that's a great suspenseful sequence, and I dug it. So this one has a audio commentary by film historian Joseph McBride, a heavy hitter. I'm very much looking forward to that as well. Yeah, this is just a rarity from Billy Wilder, and if you're a fan of his like I am, this is definitely one you need to see because it's really well done, and not like a lot of other films he made. So, good stuff. Five Graves to Cairo. And lastly, on my stack, finishing out with Brute Force from Criterion. That is this. And it is a wonderful and dark prison movie that I like very much, and also stars Burt Lancaster, like from Sorry Wrong Number. New 4K digital restoration, audio commentary, interview, and a whole bunch of other cool Criterion stuff. This is one that was upgraded from DVD, and I've been waiting for this Blu-ray for a long time. But I'm actually out of time right now, so that's going to be the last of my pile and the end of this video. But that's just a taste of what this will be like. I don't know if this is interesting again or not, but if you enjoy it, click like, click subscribe. I'll try and do more of this stuff. I'm not sure how often, if it'll be weekly or a couple times a month. It'll just depend on when I can get quiet time in the house to record. which is not always easy to find. But anyway, definitely get Brute Force. One of the best prison movies. I don't want to give this one short shrift. It's really great. So dark. Hume Cronin, evil as hell. Really, really dark. So that is it for this. Just the Dis. Getting a nice beeping at the end here. Just the Dis video, my channel debut. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful and Blu-ray filled week, as I say on my show. Bye-bye.